Okay, let's be honest for a moment. Most men today waste months, sometimes even years, chasing women who were never truly interested in them from the very beginning. They ignore the signs. They excuse the distance. They tell themselves she's just busy, just stressed, just healing, just not ready yet. And they hold on to the hope that if they say the right thing, do the right thing, or wait long enough, she'll eventually see them differently. But here's the truth: most people are afraid to say out loud. When a woman genuinely desires you, it is not confusing. It is not hidden behind riddles. It is not buried under endless mixed signals. Interest shows up, effort shows up, energy shows up. And when it doesn't, that absence is the answer. I'm Sarah Johnson, host of The Female Touch, and today we're going to have a conversation that might feel uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Because clarity is kinder than false hope. And if you've ever found yourself overthinking a woman's behavior, wondering if you're misreading things, this is for you. Let me ask you something directly. Have you ever felt that quiet anxiety in your chest when you're waiting for her reply? Have you ever defended her behavior to your friends, even when deep down you knew something felt off? Have you ever told yourself, maybe I just need to try a little harder? If you're nodding right now, I want you to know you're not foolish. You're human. You want connection. You want to matter to someone. But wanting something doesn't mean you should ignore reality to keep the dream alive. The modern dating world is noisy. It's filled with advice that says, don't give up. Be persistent. Prove yourself. Win her over. And while persistence can be admirable in certain areas of life, when it comes to attraction, it often backfires. You cannot negotiate desire. You cannot earn genuine romantic interest through overextension. And the more you try to force it, the more you chip away at your own self-respect. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 undeniable behaviors that signal low interest. Not to make you bitter, not to make you resentful, but to give you clarity. Because when you can identify low interest early, you stop investing emotional energy where it isn't being reciprocated. The first sign is subtle, but powerful. She stops respecting your time. Time is one of the most honest indicators of priority. When a woman is genuinely interested, she values access to you. She wants to see you. She wants to talk to you. She looks forward to shared moments. That doesn't mean she drops her entire life, but she makes room. When interest is low, your time becomes flexible in her eyes, replaceable. She cancels last minute without sincere apology. She shows up late consistently. She agrees to plans but forgets. She takes hours, sometimes days, to respond to simple messages while remaining active elsewhere. And here's what's important psychologically: when someone is excited about you, anticipation drives behavior. Dopamine fuels effort. She doesn't feel burdened by responding. She wants to connect. In our next session, we will dive into signs 2 through 7. Stay with me. Understanding these signs isn't about blaming anyone, it's about reclaiming your time and energy. Don't settle for lukewarm interest. When you respect your own value, you naturally attract someone who sees it too. I'm Sarah Johnson, and I'll see you in the next part. If this resonated with you, like and subscribe to join our community. Your support keeps these conversations going. We'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? Drop a comment below and let's start the conversation. Thank you for being here. Remember, you deserve connection that is certain. Until next time. If she's constantly making you feel like an afterthought, that isn't mystery. That's information. I'm Sarah Johnson, host of The Female Touch, where we decode the science of connection and behavioral psychology. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but she has a demanding job. She's going through a tough time. Adults have responsibilities, but patterns reveal truth. Occasional scheduling conflicts are normal. Chronic disregard is not. If you plan a date and she cancels an hour before with a vague excuse, then never brings up rescheduling, that's not confusion. That's a quiet withdrawal. If she repeatedly leaves you waiting for confirmation, that's not unpredictability. That's low investment. And here's where self-respect becomes critical. Every time you tolerate consistent disregard, you teach her that your time is elastic, that you will wait, that you will adjust, that you will remain available regardless of how she shows up. Attraction thrives on mutual value. When you devalue your own time, you unintentionally lower perceived value. The second sign is one that people often brush off because it feels small. Her phone becomes more interesting than you. Watch what happens when you're together. Is she present? Is she engaged? Or are you competing with a glowing screen? Attention is currency in modern dating. Where attention flows, interest grows. If she can scroll endlessly, laugh at messages, and stay immersed while you sit across from her, that tells you something important. It's not about the phone, it's about priority in that moment. When a woman feels drawn to you, her nervous system is attuned to you. She wants to read your expressions, hear your tone shifts, notice your reactions. She is invested in the interaction. She may briefly check her phone, but she returns quickly. She anchors back into the conversation. But when she is disengaged, her body may be physically present while her mind is elsewhere. And I want you to notice your own response. Do you talk faster, trying to regain engagement? Do you feel like you're auditioning? That is your intuition picking up imbalance. The third sign is when she's too busy for basic effort. Busy is the most socially acceptable rejection, but here's what matters. Effort scales with interest. When a woman likes you, she looks for ways to integrate you into her life. When she doesn't, even minimal effort feels inconvenient. A quick call becomes, I'm exhausted. A short meetup becomes, this week is crazy. And yet somehow, she still finds energy for friends, outings, and scrolling online. It's not about capacity, it's about allocation. If you are consistently receiving leftovers of her time, that is not a scheduling issue. That is a priority issue. We all allocate energy toward what excites us. Now pause for a second and reflect honestly. Have you ever waited weeks for her calendar to clear up? Have you convinced yourself that once this busy season passes, things will change? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't change because the busyness isn't the barrier, the lack of romantic interest is. Honor your value and stop waiting for a season that isn't coming. I'm Sarah Johnson. Join our private membership for a supportive sisterhood and deeper dives into behavioral science. Like, subscribe, and let me know where you're watching from. I'll see you in the next one. The fourth sign is emotional dryness in conversation. When attraction exists, conversation has rhythm, curiosity, expansion. There's a back and forth exchange of energy. She asks about your day and listens to the answer. She shares details about hers. She builds on your stories. She creates conversational bridges. When interest is low, interactions feel transactional. You ask questions. She answers briefly. You carry the dialogue. She responds minimally. You initiate nearly every interaction. And here's the psychological layer underneath that. Emotional investment drives cognitive engagement. If she is not imagining a future scenario with you, her brain does not allocate extra energy to deepen conversation. She keeps it surface level. You might start thinking, maybe I'm not being interesting enough. But attraction isn't built solely on performance. If someone wants to connect, they participate. They co-create momentum. If you constantly feel like you're dragging the conversation forward alone, that exhaustion is data. And ignoring that data keeps you stuck in pursuit mode. Before we continue to the next signs, I want you to sit with something important. None of these behaviors make her a villain. Low interest is not cruelty, it's simply lack of alignment. The problem arises when you refuse to accept what her behavior is communicating. In a moment, we're going to talk about physical proximity, body language, and one of the most overlooked signs that quietly locks men into the friend zone. But before we go there, if this conversation is already hitting home, I want you to pause and like this video. Not for me, but for yourself. Because choosing clarity over fantasy is growth. And if you've ever ignored red flags hoping they would turn green, you are not alone. Take a breath. We're just getting started. The fifth sign is one that many men rationalize away because it feels less direct. She avoids being alone with you. When a woman feels genuine romantic interest, she seeks intimacy in small, natural ways. Not necessarily physical, but emotional and situational closeness. She wants moments where it's just the two of you. That's where chemistry deepens. That's where tension builds. That's where connection either grows or clarifies. If she consistently keeps you in group settings, that's information. Notice the pattern. You suggest grabbing coffee, she invites two friends. You propose dinner, she says, let's make it a group thing. You run into her at an event. She lingers socially, but never isolates the interaction. Now, sometimes group dynamics are simply about comfort, but when it becomes consistent, it usually signals that she does not want to create emotional intimacy. Psychologically, when a woman is disinterested romantically, she maintains safety through distance. And I want you to ask yourself, are you settling for proximity instead of connection? There is a difference between being around someone and being chosen by them. Too many men confuse access with progress. At least I'm in her life. At least we hang out. At least she includes me. But inclusion without intimacy is how the friend zone solidifies. Comfort without attraction becomes familiarity. and familiarity without romantic tension rarely transforms into desire later on. Stay with me, because what we're about to cover next is the final piece of the puzzle that explains why she might be pulling away. We're moving into the subtle shifts in body language. Let's dive in. If she never creates or welcomes moments alone with you, it's often because she does not see you through a romantic lens. And staying longer in that dynamic won't magically change that perception. In fact, overexposure without romantic reciprocity often reduces intrigue. Now let's talk about something even more revealing. Sign 6. Her body language contradicts her words. Words can be polite. Words can be strategic. Words can soften rejection. But the body rarely lies. When a woman is attracted, her body naturally orients toward you. She leans in. She mirrors your movements. Her feet point toward you. Her eye contact lingers just a second longer than necessary. There's openness in her posture, subtle proximity, playful touch, micro-expressions that reveal engagement. Attraction creates unconscious alignment, but when interest is absent, the body subtly closes. She angles her torso away, her arms cross defensively. She leans back rather than in. If you move closer, she adjusts to re-establish space. Eye contact is brief, scanning, or distracted. Smiles are polite but not warm. And here's what's critical. Polite behavior is not the same as romantic interest. Many women are socially conditioned to be kind, accommodating, and non-confrontational. So she may still smile. She may still respond. She may even compliment you. But her body might be communicating emotional distance. If you have to analyze her posture to convince yourself she likes you, pause. Attraction does not require forensic investigation. When a woman desires you, you feel it. The energy is reciprocal. There's a magnetic ease. You're not constantly questioning your standing. And here's something that might challenge you. Sometimes men focus on what she says because it protects hope. She said she had fun. She said we should hang out again. But did she initiate? Did she lean in? Did she follow through? Behavior over time tells the truth. If her physical cues consistently signal withdrawal, it's not your job to override them. It's not your responsibility to break her walls down. You are not auditioning for emotional approval. Respecting body language is respecting boundaries. Now we need to address a sign that often triggers insecurity. Sign 7. She openly flirts with other men in front of you. This one stings, because it activates comparison. If a woman is genuinely invested in you romantically, she protects that dynamic, not through jealousy games, but through natural focus. Her attention gravitates toward you. She isn't scanning the room for better options while you're sitting beside her, but when she laughs a little louder at another man's jokes, touches his arm, maintains prolonged eye contact with him while giving you minimal engagement, that's not accidental obliviousness. It's directional attraction. And here's where many men make a critical mistake. They interpret this as competition. I just need to step up my game. I need to impress her more. I need to outshine him. Attraction is not a competitive sport. You cannot outperform someone into being desired if she is already emotionally leaning elsewhere. When you try to compete for her attention, you lower your internal position. You shift from being an option to being an applicant. And here's the deeper psychological truth. If she values you romantically, she does not want to create insecurity in you. She does not want you questioning your place. She does not want you feeling replaceable. So if she casually flirts with others while keeping you emotionally on standby, that is clarity disguised as subtlety. Now I need to address something controversial but important. Sometimes a woman knows you like her. She senses your interest. She sees your effort, and even though she does not feel romantic attraction, she continues engaging because she enjoys the attention. Not always maliciously, sometimes unconsciously. Validation feels good. Being desired feels affirming. Having someone available feels safe. But if she consistently accepts your attention, your favors, your emotional labor without reciprocating romantic energy, you are participating in an imbalanced dynamic. And I want to pause here and speak to you directly again. Have you ever stayed because you thought patience would eventually convert into attraction? Have you ever believed that if you proved your loyalty long enough, she would finally see your value? That belief is rooted in a transactional model of love. If I give enough, I will earn desire. But desire does not operate on debt repayment. It operates on chemistry, alignment, emotional resonance. And here's the empowering shift. When you walk away from low interest, you are not losing. You are filtering. You are creating space for someone whose nervous system lights up around you. someone who responds with enthusiasm instead of obligation, someone who does not make you question your standing. But you cannot meet that person while clinging to someone who has already emotionally opted out. In the next part, we're going to talk about why persistence often backfires, how to recognize the difference between temporary hesitation and genuine disinterest, and most importantly, how to rebuild your self-respect after you've overinvested. Because recognizing low interest is only half the battle, the real growth begins when you change how you respond to it. Before we continue, if this is resonating with you, I want you to comment one word below: clarity. Not for engagement metrics, but as a commitment to yourself that you are choosing truth over fantasy from this point forward. Take a breath with me. We're about to go deeper. Now let's talk about the part that nobody likes to admit. Why do so many men stay in low-interest situations even when the signs are obvious? It's rarely because they're blind. It's because hope is addictive. Hope says, maybe she just needs time. Hope says, maybe I haven't shown her my best side yet. Hope says, maybe if I stay consistent, she'll eventually realize what she has. And on the surface, that sounds noble, persistent, loyal, strong. But here's the psychological reality. When someone shows consistent low romantic investment, staying and overextending doesn't increase attraction, it decreases perceived value. Attraction is partially built on emotional tension and selective access. When you make yourself endlessly available to someone who is giving you crumbs, you remove any sense of earned presence. You become predictable, safe, convenient, and safety without desire becomes comfort. Comfort without desire becomes friendship. Friendship without mutual romantic spark rarely transforms into passion later. This is where persistence backfires. Many men are taught that effort wins. In career, effort wins. In fitness, effort wins. In skill building, effort wins, but attraction is not a merit-based system. It is emotional chemistry combined with perception. You cannot logically persuade someone into feeling something their nervous system isn't signaling. Now, I want to balance something important here. There is a difference between temporary hesitation and genuine disinterest. Temporary hesitation might look like, she's recently out of a relationship and explicitly communicates needing space. She expresses interest but moves slowly and consistently. She makes effort, even if pacing is cautious. Disinterest looks like inconsistent communication, low effort with high excuses, avoidance of intimacy, lack of emotional curiosity, no forward momentum. The difference is energy. When someone is hesitant but interested, the energy still moves toward you. When someone is disinterested, the energy remains neutral or drifts away, and this is where self-respect becomes your compass. Self-respect is not about ego. It's not about pride. It's about internal alignment. It's the ability to say, if I am not being chosen, I will choose myself. Because here's what often happens. A man sees these 7 signs. He recognizes them, and instead of walking away, he doubles down. He texts more. He plans more. He gives more. He explains himself more. He tries to become more impressive. But the more he tries to prove himself, the more he subconsciously communicates, I need your validation. And when validation becomes your goal, power shifts. Healthy attraction is mutual. It's 2 people moving toward each other, not one performing while the other evaluates. Now let me ask you something gently but honestly. If you stopped texting first, would she reach out? If you stopped planning, would she initiate? If you pulled your energy back, would she notice? The answers to those questions are incredibly revealing, because when interest is real, effort is reciprocal. I also want to address something else that might be uncomfortable but freeing. Sometimes the reason you stay isn't because you believe she'll change. It's because you're afraid there won't be someone else. Scarcity mindset keeps people stuck. If I let her go, what if I don't meet anyone better? What if this is my only chance? What if I regret it? But holding on to someone who is lukewarm toward you blocks access to someone who would be enthusiastic. And enthusiasm matters. You deserve someone who lights up when your name appears on her phone. Someone who adjusts her schedule because she wants to see you. Someone whose body language leans in, not away. Someone who protects the connection rather than tests how much you'll tolerate. And yes, women can keep men around for validation. But here's the empowering flip side. You are responsible for whether you accept that role. If she gives you mixed signals, you decide how long you analyze them. If she keeps you in a gray zone, You decide how long you remain there. If she offers attention without commitment, you decide whether that's enough. Walking away from low interest is not dramatic. It's disciplined. It sends a quiet but powerful message, not to her but to yourself, that you will not compete for crumbs. And here's the paradox. When you genuinely detach from needing her approval, two things happen. Either she steps forward because she senses the shift and reevaluates, or she drifts away entirely. Both outcomes are wins, because either you gain clarity or you gain freedom. Now I want to bring this back to something deeply human. Rejection, even subtle rejection, stings. It activates old wounds. It triggers feelings of inadequacy. It can make you question your attractiveness, your worth, your desirability, but someone not choosing you is not proof that you are unworthy. It is proof of misalignment. Attraction is specific. It's personal. It's subjective. You could be exactly someone else's type while being completely invisible to her. And that's okay. The real danger isn't that a woman isn't interested. The real danger is abandoning your self-respect trying to convince her to be. So from this point forward, I want you to remember something simple. If she likes you, you won't have to decode her. If she wants you, you won't feel confused. If she values you, you won't feel optional. Clarity feels calm. Low interest feels anxious. Pay attention to how your body feels around her. Are you relaxed and secure, or are you tense and analyzing every interaction? Your nervous system often knows before your mind accepts it. And as we close this conversation, I want you to do something powerful. Think of the last situation where you ignored the signs. What were they? How early did they show up? What did you tell yourself to justify staying? Be honest. Not to judge yourself, but to grow. If you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting from a place of self-respect, type "I choose me" in the comments. Make it a declaration, not just a phrase. And if this video gave you clarity, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because too many people waste years in emotional limbo when the signs were visible in the first few weeks. Make sure you're subscribed to The Female Touch so you don't miss what's coming next. In the next video, we're going to break down the subtle psychological tactics that keep people emotionally hooked even after attraction fades, and how to protect yourself from falling into that trap. You don't want to miss it. Remember, you're not here to beg for attention. You're here to build mutual desire, and that begins the moment you decide you will no longer chase someone who isn't choosing you. I'll see you in the next one.